This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you. What we're going to do today is a good old-fashioned juice off. So on one side we have the Omega Vert 350 HD juicer against the Omega O2 juicer. Now the Omega O2 juicer is literally about a third of the price of the Omega VRT. So why would you want to spend more money for the VRT? Well, there's many reasons. One of the first reasons is that each juicer and each style of juicer, you know, much like there's different kinds of cars, trucks, sports cars, family vans, SUVs, there's different kinds of juicers. You know, all the cars will get you from point A to point B and all the juicers will juice, but some juicers will get you there in style. Oh wait, that's the cars. Some juicers are better at juicing certain things than others. So for example, the VRT is better at juicing leafy greens than the O2 juicer. On something like hard carrots, you know, maybe actually the O2 is going to be a little bit better in terms of yield. That being said, another difference between the juicers is the oxidation factor or the nutrition left in the juice. Some juicers that run at higher speeds tend to oxidize the juice more, which means a lower quality juice. Now, does that mean the juice is no good if you use a centrifugal ejection style juicer? Absolutely not. The juice is far better than any canned or bottled juices or processed juices, even juice concentrates you would buy in the store. Even the Odwalas are heat pasteurized, which basically you'll lose the enzymes and some of the nutrition. But when you make juice fresh at home with your own juicers, there's going to be all the nutrients that should be in the juice naturally, like the enzymes and the high levels of nutrition. That being said, if you do want to store your juices, I would highly encourage you to get a low-speed juicer that's going to preserve more of the nutrition from the get-go, because once again, once you break open the cell walls of fruits and vegetables, the nutrition starts to go down, and over time it degrades. Now, does that mean, once again, oh, if I store the juices for 24 hours, it's no good? No, it's absolutely fine to drink. You could totally drink it, but there's just not as much nutrition as there was right after you make it. So for best results and for best and highest nutrient quality, I always encourage you to drink the juice right after you make it. If you want to drink juice 3 times a day, then I would encourage you to make juice 3 times a day. Don't just make it once in the morning and drink it throughout the day. Of course, some people have to go to work, and if you can only juice in the morning, then it's better to take the juice to work, keep it cold in a thermos or in like a sealed mason jar with the air sucked out, and take it to work. Because drinking the juice at work is far better than drinking the coffee from the coffee machine at work, and I don't need to tell you that. In any case, let's move on and get juicing in these 2 juicers. I have many other videos on YouTube that you could look at that'll explain the different styles of juicers and which may be best for you. Today we're going to be specifically juicing one produce item, and this is because I had a request that said, hey John, can you juice cactus pears in the Liquip juicer? And the Liquip juicer is a centrifugal ejection style juicer, pretty much just like the Omega O2 juicer. So while you can juice pretty much any fruit or vegetable in most juicers, some juicers will do it better, and there'll be, you know, a little bit differences between them, and that's what we're going to actually take a look at today. So without further ado, let me go ahead and talk about what we'll be juicing. Today we're going to be juicing cactus fruits. So we have basically peeled cactus fruits here. They're a little bit kind of like slimy, kind of like the texture of aloe vera, and they're, as you can see, they're purple. They're really rich in the pigments, and when foods are rich in pigments, then they're also rich in antioxidants that are beneficial for us. The prickly pear cactuses are also rich in vitamin C and a whole slew of other phytochemicals and phytonutrients. Some people say that prickly pear cactus can help you with a hangover. Some people say it may help you with cancer. Some people say it may help with inflammation. There's so many different research things on the internet, and there's even a book about prickly pear cactus you could look up if you want to learn more about it. Now, what I would encourage you to do, if you do want to drink prickly pear cactus juice, don't just go buy the prickly pear cactus juice they'll send you in the mail that's in a bottle, or even at your health food store, the stuff in a bottle. That's all been heat pasteurized, because in order to stay shelf stable and be able to be shipped to you, they need to heat it up to kill the 100% of the enzymes, which also degrades some of the nutrition. So why not have the best nutrition possible by juicing your own fresh prickly pear cactuses in your home? So to prepare these, what we did was we simply just peeled them, and now we're going to simply juice them. So now let's go for the weigh-in. Here are the cactus pears. Once again, these are basically skinned cactus pears. There's about 9 cactus pears in each container here, and you can see on the scale we got 14 14.4 ounces. So that's 14 ounces and a quarter approximately. And that's one side, and the other side we have 14.4 ounces once again, which is also 14.25 or 14 and a quarter ounces. So now that we've done the weigh-in, we're going to get into the juice off. So on the O2 juicer, normally you have to put a smaller cup underneath it because you can't put large things. So actually we stuck it on a cutting board so it's nice and stable. So it raises it up so we can put the same exact collection cup underneath it. Normally what I like to catch the juice in is like a Pyrex measuring cup, where these are actually, yeah, these are literally measuring cups. That's nice, and that's glass. Sometimes I like to filter my juice, especially on the Vert, which tends to make a pulpier juice, and that is just part of the design. Now on fruits, the Vert does excessively well, so I'm really curious to see how it's going to do with juicing these cactus pears. First, we're going to juice in the O2 juicer. We're going to turn this machine on, and one of the differences in the machines are the RPMs, or revolutions per minute, and that's actually how fast it runs. The faster it runs, the louder it's going to be. So if you want a quiet juicer, it's definitely best to go with a slow juicer. This can definitely save your marriage, especially if you're going to work early in the morning and your mate is still sleeping. You know, if loud juices are going on in the morning, they're not happy with it, you know what? It's worth it to spend a little bit more to keep them happy. So let's go ahead and turn this on. Not too bad. We're going to take out the pusher. Once again, you should only ever use the pusher to push produce into the machines. And here's the Cactus Pear. These are nice and slippery actually, so we're just going to go ahead and start putting these in. These Cactus Pears are nice and small, so no cutting is required. And as you can see, we're getting some Cactus Pear juice out. The seeds, which are actually pretty hard seeds, are going through the juicer with no problem whatsoever. Now when feeding produce into the O2 juicer or any centrifugal ejection juicer, you just don't want to cram it through there. You want to maximize the blade contact time with the produce so that you'll get the highest amount of yield. So we're going at a nice slow and moderate pace so that we can achieve the highest yield with these cactus pears. So I'm really giving gentle pressure to push the pears into the juicer, and all the juice is coming out. Now I want to encourage you to always eat your fresh fruits and vegetables of color. The colors are the antioxidants that are really good for us. There's many discovered and even undiscovered nutrients in a lot of these foods. Whoa, and if you don't use the pusher on this machine, you can see it, it'll spray out at you. So another reason to put stuff in and then use the pusher to push it down. And that's something the Vert won't do. And let me tell you, this Cactus Pear stuff, it'll stain your clothes and actually your area really bad. Alright, so that's the last Cactus Pear. Thank God. And so that's pretty much finished. And we're going to go ahead and turn the O2 juicer off. We're going to let that sit and hang out while we turn on the Omega Vert. Now the Omega Vert, nice and slow. I like it a lot better because it just runs slower and it's pretty much a lot easier. We're just going to dump those in. It basically will just, you know, at a nice slow and leisurely pace, like crush up and extract all the juice out of the Cactus Pears. Much quieter, and actually the texture of the juice looks a lot different, which we'll compare right when we're finished. So on the Omega Vert, you always want to pay attention to the outlet port. You want to make sure stuff is consistently flowing on the outlet port. If things aren't flowing out the outlet port, then that means you have a backup situation. And that's not a good thing with the Omega Vert. Now on Cactus Pears that probably won't happen because they're generally soft and they have all the seeds that help push the pulp out. But if juicing something like leafy greens on the Omega Verts, there are special procedures that aren't outlined in the instruction manual. So I'd encourage you to check my other videos on YouTube for the juicing in the Omega Vert best practices. And that'll give you the lowdown on how to juice the best in the Omega Vert. Alright, so we're almost done juicing all these Cactus Pears in the Omega Vert. It's gone really well. No major splashes on me like with the O2 juicer. And that's the last one, so let's go ahead and next move the two scales out the way, and we're going to compare the results. Now let's go ahead and turn the Omega Vert off. And now on both juicers, what I always like to do when I'm done juicing is tip the juicer up a little bit. So you can see there's some juice still in the collection bowl of the O2 juicer, and this juice would end up on your table or countertop if you didn't tip the juicer up. Sometimes what I also like to do after tipping the juicer up is, even after I take the juice away, I'll get like a little cap from a jar, and I'll put that underneath, so if anything does drip, I'm not going to get my counter dirty. So let's see, let's go ahead and move that over to the center. And same thing on the Vert, we could tip that up, but usually there's not a whole lot of stuff left in the Vert. You can see we barely got one drip, or two drips. And on the Vert, we could just easily move over the collection cup with the pulp in it. Wow, and actually that looks really dry. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to show you guys this, and we're going to line these up here so it looks like the Omega Vert from 14.25 ounces of fruit starting weight. We got 11, a little bit over 11 fluid ounces of juice, and on the O2 juicer, we got about 10 fluid ounces of juice, actually just under 10 fluid ounces of juice. As you can see, these two juices, they're definitely different, and I don't know if you can see that on the camera there. This one's nice and rich and deep, dark color, and there's no foam at the top. On this juice here, if you look really closely, down at the bottom, there's what's called juice separation. Because, you know, the machine is running at a high speed, it basically injects air into the juice, which causes the juice separation and the extra foam. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but, you know, it does aerate your juice more, and aeration in the juice basically causes oxidation, which, once again, is not optimal, but once again, this is definitely better than a canned or bottled juice any day of the week. Next, let's go ahead and do a taste test. Actually, we got the O2 juice on this side and the Vert juice on that side. So here goes the O2 juice down the hatch. Wow. So right off the top, taste a lot of the air bubbles and the foam. I mean, it's definitely good. Let's go ahead and go with the Vert juice next. Nice, rich, thick. Like, there's like such a texture on that. It's not full of air. So I definitely preferred the Omega Vert juice. It's like more clean and smooth without all the air. Now, of course, both juicers juiced it fine, and if you could only afford like an O2 or a centrifugal ejection style machine, you might want to go with that. But in my opinion, according to the yield test, the Omega Vert juicer made 1 extra ounce of yield, which is important, but more importantly, made the higher quality juice. Next, let's take a look at this pulp, which will actually stain really bad, because I want to show you guys the difference of the pulp and, you know, which machine was more efficient. As we know from the yield test, the Vert was, but, you know, you guys will get a kick out of looking at this pulp also. Here's the pulp from the Omega Vert. We'll put that on the cutting board there, and here's the pulp out of the O2 juicer. So you can see that coming out the O2 juicer. I mean, it's literally like almost like a smoothie consistency. It's still like very wet and like dripping. So there's like definitely juice that didn't come out of that pulp right in this area. And it's just a lot more like liquidy. And over here on the Vert, you can see it's just much, much more dry. And that is truly the efficiency of the Vert at work. So in this test, I showed you specifically cactus pears, which, you know, if we did carrots with the same thing, you'll see some of the same things. You'll see more aeration in the O2, but on carrots, you might actually see a better yield on the O2 because the Vert is not as efficient with carrots. Also, you'll see more pulp in the Vert juice. So with each juicer, there's always pros and cons. Part of my job is to help you guys figure out the best juicer that's going to be right for you. But overall, you just want to start juicing. Get a juicer today. It can definitely change your life like it's changed mine. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.